Coming up today on the Women in Sports Media podcast, Marissa Voss shares stories of her time in Debut League, working for the MNSU men's hockey team, and what her experience has been like being a woman working in sports media. That's all coming up, so stay tuned for today's episode. All right. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Emma Holmes, and welcome to the Women in Sports Media podcast. Joining me today, I have Marissa Voss, who is a former multimedia journalist and content creator who I will let introduce herself. But welcome in, Marissa. I'm so excited you're here. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Emma. Thank you so much for having me. So I was a former digital content manager and team interviewer for the Minnesota State University Mankato men's hockey team. I also was a multimedia journalist at KUIC News Now, which is a local news station in Mankato, Minnesota. And I also do content creating. I did that for Debut League, which is a summer hockey league for NHL players, college hockey players, which is something new I don't think I talked about when I visited your class, which is the reason why we're here. But, super excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited you could be here. So tell me a little bit about your journey and how you got started in sports, and if that's kind of what you wanted to do, or if it was, totally off the path of what you wanted, and kind of how you got to where you are now.
I think it's funny. A lot of people always say, this is what I wanted to do for so long, ever since I was, young. I never really knew this is exactly what I wanted to do or what I was going to do. I kind of was just a fly by the seat of my pants kind of girl. Mm-hmm. So when I was in high school, I honestly didn't do that well academically, so I didn't know if I could even get into college, and then I got into MSU and then transferred. But I honestly wanted to write. I thought I wanted to be a newspaper person.
Okay.
Which is weird because not how that turned out, obviously, as you know. But definitely that's what I went for MSU, and then I transferred to Bethany Lutheran College, and this is where the cliche part comes in. I got a mic in my hand for MSU eyesight reporting, and I was like, yep, this is everything I want to do. Everything's correct. Everything's right. That's the route that I wanted to go. So, I just fell in love with it. My dad, my brother, and all of them were like, you can't be in front of the camera. We know you, I was like, listen, this is my passion. And that brought me to where I am. A lot of networking, a lot of hard work, and didn't think I wanted to do it at all, but oh my gosh, I love it with every fiber in my being.
Yeah, I originally wanted to do, I was newspaper kind of journalist, and then I was in front of the camera, and now I'm more behind the scenes, because to touch on the digital content creation and you being the manager. So what exactly does that all entail then?
Yeah, for MSU, and you're going to hear this phrase if you work in sports, there's social media manager, social media specialist, digital content manager. It's what does that mean? It basically means that you are overseeing every single content or social media that you do. So basically what I did for digital content manager is I overviewed for MSU our TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of the Facebook, even all of the social media, literally all of it. So I would intern, and you usually don't do this in the league, but that's the thing I liked about MSU is I did the interviews and then would post my own interviews. Usually don't do that, that's pretty rare, but it was pretty cool. But I overviewed everything, so I went to the games and I was, posted the pictures that our photographer took or the videography shots or, posted the stuff on Instagram stories, and then I would make some reels, and I would, we had a specific guy who would live tweet the game, so I would just add in funny commentary. And that's kind of what I did. When you manage the content, you manage the digital part of it, you manage everything, and then, you build whatever from here on out. So, yeah, it's very interesting, but usually when you see that, you're going to basically think, okay, someone who manages the social media accounts, but not just manages them, works through every day. So when you're, let's say you see the Minnesota Wild people and they're posting. Yeah. I know both the girls that do that. They do an amazing job. They're absolutely fantastic. But that's what they do is they create content every single day, and they just kind of manage it and watch the trends and then go from there.
Yeah. That's the one job, even scrolling through my TikTok, I see, I have a few sports media, girl accounts that I follow. But yeah, that is the one a lot of people are interested in now is being in charge of, the Twitter and the Instagram, which is, growing up, you and I, we didn't have that when we watched sports,
Gosh, no.
So it's an interesting new job that I think will create a lot of opportunities. So, especially for women, which is exciting.
Absolutely. So, I don't think people realize how much actually majority of women run the social media for accounts. We have, for Minnesota Vikings, there's a woman who runs it. Obviously, the two girls with the Wild run the Wild account. The Twins account, a girl runs it. Even with Nashville Predators. You're going to see, and I know a lot of these girls in these industries, we're switching from being reporter roles to being content managers, social media managers, and I think that's so cool because, not to be rude to the men, but girls have that special flair that you add to it, that cool stuff to the stories. It's not just bland, it's very spicy. So you're going to see that a lot with different NHL, NFL, MLB accounts, and I think that's so rad. Yeah, that is kind of, with this being a woman in sports media podcast, I did kind of want to touch on, how there is a huge difference of, men and women in the league. Did that scare you at all coming into work, coming to work in sports at all? Did that intimidate you, or? I don't think so. When I was young, I just knew I wanted to do it. When I was, a freshman or sophomore, whenever I started, I just knew I wanted to do it. And then growing into it, it's been scary. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's definitely a male-dominated role. Again, we're seeing more of it, which is so amazing. Yeah. It was a male-dominated thing, especially back then. And, I even have to this day where I would talk sports and guys look at me like they give me that look of bewildered when I, list facts. Yes. And I know the Minnesota Wild so deeply. They're like, oh, my God. Yeah. How do you know hockey? It's like, yes, I know hockey. I know everything about this stuff. Yeah. So definitely a hard pill to swallow, but also I think I can talk for a lot of girls when the satisfaction of knowing things and proving them wrong and knowing more is awesome. But I will say, and even I think the thing that bewildered me the most with working about MSU is a lot of the guys, not on the team, but just over sexualize you, because you're a girl. Yes. So they definitely have these things where they just look at you differently, or to make these comments about how you look, or how good looking you are. That's the biggest challenge I've faced, is because I'm like, okay, can we, I know I'm wearing a dress right now, I know I'm doing this and this and this, but can we not do that? It just always felt super hard. So I think that's the biggest challenge with women, is also that over-sexualization when it comes to doing what we love in sports. And that'll always be there. Audra Martin and Erin Andrews and all of these girls have talked about that on multiple occasions, of men just kind of coming at them for how they look and how they talk. And you gotta have a thick skin. You gotta, in this industry, you kind of gotta let that roll off your back and say, you know what, I am a pretty girl, but I'm not gonna let it affect who I am. Yeah. But definitely, it's hard, but it's worth it. Yeah. Well, and I've seen a few interviews too of, women who have been super successful in this industry, and that's something that still, affects them. So it's pretty sad, because you wouldn't see that happening to a male in this industry, but that's just one of the many reasons why women in this industry are so amazing. Exactly. So exactly. I agree. Yeah. So hopefully it'll continue to grow, and that's my hope. So so kind of to go more back on your personal career and experience, what has been your favorite experience so far, and what are you looking forward to doing in the future? Yeah, my favorite experience probably is this last year when I got to travel to Boston to do the Frozen Four. Oh, yes, yep. That was the most incredible, enlightening, amazing experience I've ever, had to do. Just the behind the scenes at TD Garden, which is such a great place, because you have obviously Boston Bruins and, the Celtics playing there, and all of this just big history. And then for me to go backstage there and see my team do it, and then just every single experience that was there, and, even to tour Boston and just get the behind the scenes stuff and see Maverick Nation travel well. I don't think anyone understands. We were the most well-traveled team amongst everyone in the Frozen Four. And so they would have this thing before the games where they would have this red carpet, and all their fans would come and cheer them on. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Every single time national championship game, when we faced the Minnesota Gophers to advance to the national championship game, we were full. Everyone's like, this is the most we've seen fans out of all four schools. Wow. From little Mankato. So that was definitely my pride and joy, my prized possession. I loved it so much. Not the outcome we wanted, but still.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking.
I'm not gonna lie, guys, I bawled. Like, I was crying. I had to go, like, away from all the fans, and then all the fans saw me, and they were like, oh my god, and I, like, hugged, Andy Carroll's parents, and, like, Nathan Smith's, and then I saw all the parents that I got really close with, and they were, like, hugging me. They're like, it's okay. I'm like, I shouldn't be the one bawling my eyes out. You should be. Like, this is insane. But they were so nice. And I guess the thing I'm most looking forward to is I don't really have an adventure right now. I'm hoping to hear back from Midcoast Sports about potentially being a sports reporter. So that would cover, like, USD, SDSU. It would cover UND hockey potentially, which, again, is would hurt my Minnesota State soul, but you got to do it. I guess hopefully doing that, but just, like, the opportunity of, like, anything could happen. Everyone asked me, what's your 5 to 10 year goal? I dropped, like, Battle Sports North potentially. NHL Network. I don't know. Like, I love to shoot big. So that's the thing I'm most looking forward to, is that open door, open opportunity. I just don't really have anything right now set, but I think that there's a beauty in that. Yeah,
I think so too. Especially in this industry, I think now, as you know, we talked about, there are so many opportunities, and especially for us women, I think too now, I will say that is the one nice thing I like about the NHL is they are pretty good with having women in the league. Yes. Even though if it is just like an one night only kind of thing, which definitely sucks, and I hope they'll kind of like stray away from that, but they are pretty good about representing women, so hopefully we will see you soon. And
I know you're seeing but the thing that also scares me, just to kind of stray away, but also that hit a good point, is I was watching on ESPN Plus. It was the Seattle Kraken versus the Minnesota Wild.
Yes.
They had Leah
Hextall.
Girl.
Yep.
Yes. Oh my god! I don't know if you went on Twitter. They were roasting her.
Oh yeah.
I saw horrendous.
I saw one, like, a Minnesota fan, and that surprised me because I'm not. Well, Minnesota. Yeah. But yeah, one was like, I don't remember, and it was a girl too. I was like, why? That is, I had an interview, and she said, we just, as women in this industry, we need to keep continuing to build each other up.
Exactly.
And that is doing the complete opposite. And I was just baffled by by what everyone was saying, but especially women. I was like, that is not okay.
No, they were making fun of her, like, shape and her hair and her glasses. And they're like, oh, you look like Edna Mode from The Incredibles. And I was like, listen, she's doing a fantastic job. Like, I would like to see you do play-by-play for hockey. You can't. It is incredibly hard, especially at the NHL level. Yeah. And that was, I almost made an angry tweet, but then I don't because I try to censor myself because, again, like, those things bite you in the butt. Yeah. But I almost made an angry tweet, like, why are you guys doing this? I would love to see you in her shoes. Yeah. Again, I could never, like, I know how hard that is. But I think ESPN Plus and ESPN gets a bad rep with NHL overall. Yeah. They don't like, the fans don't like to see it. Yeah. Again, I'm like, whatever. Yeah.
It was, at first, it took me, honestly, a while to get used to it because it was, new commentary and new play-by-play. I was like, But yeah, I think, because she is more of a recurring play-by-play on there. And, those are nationally televised games. Exactly. No, thank you. I would love to get the opportunity, but I don't think I could ever, like, oh my gosh, that is
just the versatility. Like, she has to do the interviews. And she has to talk, nonstop. Like, I don't think you guys understand play-by-play. And especially, I don't even know if she had a color commentator. I think it was just her.
It was just her, yep.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly could not.
Yeah, no.
There's one thing about me asking a couple of questions about the guys. How to do it. It's fun, but, like, here goes, Freddie Gaudreau going down to the net, and he shoots in front of the shot, and blah, 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 like, the entire full 16 minutes.
I know. Well, and hockey is so fast-paced. Like, compared to football, I love football, I do. But hockey, it's just always going. And so always having to be, because I also get a little distracted. So I don't know how she's just always on it. And exactly. I get the tone of voices is a big thing for broadcasting. I do understand that. And that is the one big obstacle, another big obstacle women face is the tone of their voice. And it is hard to get used to that because we are so conditioned to listen to male voices when it comes to sports. But I think, just hearing her is important. And I know people don't like her, but I think the more that ESPN just pushes her in, hopefully people will get used to it and be better about it because I watched a video of her and she said, she would get like death threats sent to her on Twitter. And I was like, I get one thing about like commenting on their appearance, that's still horrible, but death threats from a hockey game.
I started to dive into more of my TikTok. I do stuff for like Minnesota Vikings, Minnesota Wild.
Okay.
I can't even describe to you how much men like will like come at you about their sports. I'm sorry, I love sports.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because I'm a woman. I would never stoop that low. Like they get so passionately, irrationally upset.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you're seeing it from is like it's just something they really care about. But they're like, again, like death threats, and it's like I don't know if women are just more mature than men. Like I don't get it, but they do. They get irrationally upset and passionate about it. That you see that side of them. So again, like. If someone says, oh, like, there's no way that could be real, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
For these high people, like, that is a real thing to be getting death threats, to be saying all of this stuff. Like, I've seen it just on the KUIC side. I couldn't imagine on ESPN or the higher levels. And again, I think it comes from a stem of jealousy. I think they think, oh, she's a woman. How could she be doing better than me in life?
Yeah.
It's like, honey, we all are. Like, we see from head to toe. You're sitting on the couch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, too. All these people, even men and women, are just sitting on their couch watching the game, tweeting. So, which I am, too, but I'm not tweeting. You know, it's like, it's one thing to... Context. Yeah, it's one thing to kind of be like, oh, you know, because I will say there was that one game that people were so pissed off about. I can't remember what teams it was, but it was the shootout. Was it San Jose or something?
Yes, it was the San Jose Sharks we just lost to, I think, with the shootout. I think that's the San Jose.
Yeah, well, it was the one that Leah commented, like, and she, I guess, wasn't very enthusiastic or something, and people were just attacking her, which I kind of agree, like, she wasn't as, like, maybe she just wasn't on her game that night. Like, there was a little difference, but I would never be one to just go straight to Twitter and, like, oh, you saw, you know, I don't understand. I just will never understand that. And I hope that changes, which sadly I don't think it will, because people will always have an opinion. Men will always have an opinion about women in sports. And it's just sad, but I'm hoping that it'll change.
I think once you see more people, like there's still going to be those people, but once we see more of us, and I think, again, we just as women have to just block that out, which is so unnecessary for us to be conditioned to be like, hey, just block out the rude men, like they'll be there. Like, no, why can't we teach our young, like, men and boys that, like, you need to be nice to people and be nice to women, and can't treat them as, like, you know, obstacles. And that's a problem that stems outside of women in sports, just to women in general. But men love their sports, and they always are just like, again, like I've been like downtown, you know, sometimes, or doing all this stuff, and I will literally, I'm sorry, but my favorite thing in life in sports is to like prove men wrong. I just find very much satisfaction from it, and people can be mad at me. But I would literally go downtown and, like, I'd be like, oh, I love your, like, this and this. Like, they're wearing a hat or whatever, like a jersey. And then they're like, what do you know? And then I just go off. And they're just like, again, they're like, they're either like, I want to marry you, or, like, I don't like you. There's either one of the two.
No, that's how, I'm in a fantasy league. I have no, like, girlfriends who like hockey, so that... And that is, too, a lot of, I will say, it is hard to find girls who enjoy sports to the level that, you know, you and I do, maybe. But, yes, I'm in a fantasy league, and it is, actually, this last season, I was the only girl. This season, I have one other girl in my league. Woo. But right now, I'm 4-0. So I just find it always funny when I'm, you know, playing in my league, and all these guys, you know, I just would love to see their reaction to when a girl pops in the draft, and I'm like, but that is one thing we will always, whether you're a fan or actually in the industry, you will always have to prove yourself as a woman who loves sports. And it is really sad, but you know what? We will prove them wrong. So that's what
9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 times. Yes, we will.
Yes. So that is one really exciting thing. But kind of just more of a broad question. This is kind of my overarching question, I guess, of the podcast. But why, it's kind of a 2-for-1. Why do you think there is such a lack of female voices in sports? And why do you think there should be more?
Okay. Yeah, I think there's a lack because of from such a young time. Like, let's look back 20 plus years. 20 plus, 30 plus, you didn't see women in sports. You didn't see that, whether they weren't, playing or there wasn't Title IX, or you didn't see the broadcasters. There was just such a lack of women in sports. So from those times of men learning that and kind of growing that dominance of it, now it's really hard for us to build up from that. We're basically building from the ground up, and that's very, very hard for us to do. So I think that lack of publicity in the press, having our face shown, also it's just we're now starting to get into play-by-play, which is awesome. I think it's great, but we were always that reporter role. If we were in it, it was just, oh, let's check in with so-and-so down at the sideline.
Yes.
Let's not hear from her until, literally in the middle of the game. Then they can go, and then they go back. So I think that's a really hard pill for people to swallow, and that's why we just don't see a lot of it. Why I think there should be more women in sports. We add that sort of finesse, sort of that flair that you see. Some women, I will say, have some absurd takes.
Yeah.
There was a tweet I was seeing with someone, and I did kind of grill her a little bit, but it was because she was talking about my Minnesota Vikings and she was saying some absurd things. So I was like, I love you, but baby, no. But it's about something about the Buffalo Bills. I think it was either Kirk or Justin Jefferson. Let me tell you what, those two are very sensitive to me.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Yeah.
So I was like, but I think there should be more because they do press that envelope. We do press that envelope in a way that nobody else does. And I think it catches people off guard. And, you're seeing more and more of these women. Like, one I always go to is Jenny Taft.
Okay, yeah.
I love her. She is so good. She's actually from Minnie.
Okay.
Her, and then also another one who I can't remember off the top of my head. But we've got some girls who do, have done very well and now are on big national networks. And that's the reason, is because we just need them because they add something. If you're having 4 men talking, it's okay, whatever, but you're only going to have men listening in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you're a woman like me, you're going to listen in because you love sports. But if you hear a woman's voice in a podcast or on national television, you as a woman are going to go, huh? Yeah. And you're going to tune in.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, just to grow the brand of sports and to grow the women in sports, is we need it because we're going to listen in now.
Yeah.
4 men talking about it, unless you're this big wig name that I know, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to listen to you, but I'm just going to listen to the facts. Versus if I hear a woman, I'm going to support her 110%.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how, because what is it, TNT? They have their little intermission. It's usually all men. Usually I mute it or I go to a different channel. I don't really like Biz anymore after that one comment that he made, which made me very sad because I love their podcast and that made me, I was very upset about that. But yeah, and I think too, kind of to go off your, just hearing voices, women's voices in sports, will tune in. And then I think too, as a young girl, it was mainly just seeing them on the sideline. So I think, having women in the booth and play-by-play and doing all that will open more doors for younger women, younger girls. And, they'll see that and they'll say, oh, I can do this because there are other women who are doing it. So I think that too is super important because, I think it was Michelle Tafoya. That was the one I really looked up to. So, but that was, her and Erin Andrews, that was about it. And there was no Catherine Tappan a little bit, but there was just no women. So at least now they're making their way up, so that's good. But
you're seeing so many, Shannon Sharp is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
love her. But you're seeing some of these girls that you've never seen before. Are these women, and representation is all I'm gonna say. Representation. Oh my god, I can't say it. Representation. Wow, that was rough, guys. I talk for a living, I can't do it. But that's what's the key is.
Yeah.
Is having those people, and again, I love more than anything turning and being I'm always women.
Yeah.
And it makes me so happy. It does. And I love Kevin Gorg with all my heart. He's so good at it. And that doesn't that doesn't bother me, but I love seeing Audra Martin, Katie Storm on Valley Sports North. She is an absolute icon. Jessie Pierce is also, I don't know if you know who Jessie Pierce is.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I know her. I met her this last year for
my gosh.
Beauty League, and she is an absolute icon. I always look up to these girls. Obviously, I'm old SCSU reporter who now is in-game host for the Wild. I love her. Sometimes I mess up her name. Please don't be mad at me. It's very Kirsten Kroll.
Okay.
For some reason, when I first met her, I was like, Kirsten. And I was like, is it Kirsten? Is it Kirsten? It's like Kirsten.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got them all in there, though.
Oh my God, I know how to spell it. I love her.
Yeah.
I'm getting a card from her. She's an icon. But these are the women in sports that you need to. And Alexis Pearson, I can't believe I almost forgot her too as well. These are the women in sports that you need to listen to in Minnesota.
Okay.
And I think they've done a great job of representation and like kind of bringing up that name. Those are the girls that I absolutely love, and I think they're great.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's just the biggest thing is like, I think nationally, but if you want to be a woman in sports, any girls who are out there who live in Minnesota, please like look up to these girls. Follow them on Twitter, follow them on Instagram, wherever you're doing, model your work after them, and also like get in touch. I think networking is huge because like I always thought these girls were untouchable, and I reached out to Katie when I was in college, and she gave me some amazing tips and talked to me about stuff. You know, so there's still women and there's still people, so just like hit them with a DM. Be like, I want to be like you, what do I have to do?
Well, I think too that would, if I were in that position, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, wow, somebody looks up to me.
Exactly.
That would make, I know it would be nerve-wracking, but think of like how they would feel. It would feel amazing. And because that's how I felt reaching out to you. I was a little nervous. I was like, I don't know, because I went on your Twitter at first, but I don't tweet a lot just because, I don't know. I follow all my hockey accounts, but I never tweet. So I was like, I probably shouldn't reach out to her on Twitter because her Twitter's a little intimidating. So then I went to your LinkedIn and I was like, I put it off for so long though, but then I finally did it and I'm glad I did.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, literally, like, I know that feeling is so scary. I tweet a lot of nonsense all the time, but my Twitter has grown. I love it. I love doing social media, so of course, but again, like, my tweets are all towards men because at the same time, like, I love this. I am the only girl in the MNCAA podcast. I am coming up on this thing called Wild Takes, which is, an affiliate of 10,000 Takes, which, it's just like, some big advice I have is you have to be kind of used to being potentially the only girl with a ton of men. Like, my tweet group, I am the only girl with 10 men talking, like hockey. And I'm okay with that. That's fine. I wish there was more, but at the same time, if you want to do that, like, those are things, but like, never feel like you have to be scared to talk to me at all. I know, again, it's intimidation of like, oh my God, you used to do this, you used to do that. I'm such an open book. I really will help anyone. Like, you want to be like, there was this girl, her name's Sydney. She came to a Beauty League game. She went to a lot of them.
I know. I went to high school with her. Did you actually? Yeah. It's like Sydney.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something.
Yes. I went to high school with her.
Oh my gosh.
Small world.
That's so crazy. She's the sweetheart. She came up to me and she's like, at the game, like, her mom kind of like talked to me and then she was like, hey, like, I love watching you do it. Like, all this stuff. Like, I see you out here every single time. I'm trying to get autographs. Like, do you have like 10 minutes right now to talk? So I literally just talked with her 15 minutes about like what I did, what she has to do to get there, the differences she has to make, and then I gave her my number. I said, please call me whenever you want. Not a big deal. I'm like very an open book. So like that's so cool that you know her, because it was like, again, one of those things where she's probably thinking, oh my God, do I talk to her? Do I not, putting it off? Yeah. And for me, I'm like, I love this.
And I think like that's what I kind of touched on too. I think it would be so like cool to have that feeling of just we're close in age, but we're still younger than you, so to have that, because we do, we need that inspiration, I guess, too. So that is crazy. Her and I have talked a little bit because every time I like go to a game, she'll like swipe up, and so it's kind of funny. But I know she loves the Wild, so that's so funny.
I can't believe that. I was like, wait a minute, how do you know her?
Well, because I know I tried to get to some of the Beauty League this summer, but it just never worked out. But kind of just to touch on that, because I that is such an interesting league to me. It's so, it seems so fun, and like that can kind of be the way we ended, just on a little fun note to talk about that. But so kind of, tell me about how you got involved in that and your story with that, and some fun little stories and tidbits.
I have so much. This is why, again, like talking, emailing, networking is so big. They didn't have any applications open. I literally just emailed them. Yeah. And I was like, hey, like, I do social media for this and this. Here's my credentials. Do you, like, can I do this for the Beauty League? Not even really knowing. Like, honestly, I didn't realize how big this was. I just wanted to do it. I just needed, that was the next step after the Mavericks. I needed something new to fill my summer. And they go, oh, for sure. Like, let's do it. Wow. And I was like, oh my God, what? So then I started doing that. It's only 8 weeks. It's, if you don't know, the Beauty League plays 4-on-4 summer hockey league up in Edina, Minnesota, and they do it all for charity. And it's so awesome. They play for the John Scott Cup, and it's just basically kind of like a pickup game of hockey. But the big thing, obviously, is there's NHL players there. Yeah. We've got Nate Schmidt from the Winnipeg Jets. You've got Jake Gensel from the Pittsburgh Penguins. You've got Nick Boonstad, who's now is an Arizona Coyote. And then you've also got, obviously, Jake Middleton and Tyson Jones and Stephen Polgardy. I know Tyson is so nice. She's so amazing. And Alex Goligoski, who's... so again, all and like Alex Stay, like all these big names. Like, I know, and I can go on because I did not realize how many big names were out there, like Andre Miller from the
I saw he came this summer. Yeah.
Oh my God, he is so talented. So my fun story I have is we started doing stuff where we would like write like questions on a whiteboard, and I was like, oh, like what's your favorite video game? So they would all pass me, and one I had Kyandra, I kind of like needed him. Like a guy gave me a tip. He's like, hey, ask him like this certain question. And I was like, hey, what's your favorite video game? And he goes, oh, first he says Fortnite. And I was like, that's not part of my plan. I wanted him to say Chell. Yeah. So I was like, what about like Chell? And he goes, oh, yeah, like I love Chell. And I'm like, oh, do you like ever pick yourself when you play Chell? And he looks at me and goes, I have like a power ranking of so and so. Of course, I pick myself when I play Chell. You're kidding. Things like that. I actually made a TikTok with Nick Boonstad on the account. So I met him. I pulled him, and I was like, "You used to be a wild." Like I was like, "You used to be wild, like a wild player." Now I'm talking to you. Can I create a TikTok with you? So I made a TikTok with him. A lot of it was. Some were interviews, but a lot of it was me just getting content. So I was in front of the camera for I interviewed Jake Gensel. Okay, yeah. And that's a huge name if you don't know. He is such a nice guy. Him and I had some banter because I was like, I like to give, with the Beauty League, it's funny. Right? Yeah, it's not serious, it's funny. Some guys take it too seriously, but you kind of gotta get some funny content. So I was interviewing him, and I was like, how many lakes can you name off? Minnesota lakes can you name in like a minute? Yeah. Or however long. So he was naming them, and he named 5. I'm like, you can only name 5? And he's like, Marissa, listen, like he got flustered, and he was trying to it was such a cool experience. Yeah. But, I just made a lot of TikToks, grew their brand. I posted on their social media. Again, more behind the camera, Kirsten did all the interviews, which she's fantastic at it, and I was really happy to create some content for her. So more or less a role where I wasn't in front of the camera and I was behind it, but I still loved it. Yeah. It's such a weird thing. I loved it so much. I didn't think that I would like that. I fell in love with the social media more and more because of the Mavericks, and that went over to the Beauty League, and a lot of people were like, hey, you're doing a great job, we love your stuff. And it's just such an rewarding experience because people sometimes they don't know that you're posting it, but your stuff's taking off anyways, and it's just like you said, I'm the behind the scenes stuff that you love. It's so rewarding. So I was Zach Preezy. I was this close. Yeah. With us, feet away from Zach Preezy. I can't even tell you. There's so many names Matt Dumba. Okay. Who was your favorite that you met? Or the favorite? Most memorable? Yeah. Yeah, the most memorable. Oh, that's so hard because they were all so cool. I would have to say Andre Miller and Jake Gensel, because those two are just so they're big, yes, but they're so nice. You would never expect it, and they I got some of my great the best content I've got from them. Oh wow. But there was this interaction between Josti and Middleton where they were hitting each other and stuff, and I made some stuff with them. They were super cool. Obviously Nick Boonstad. It just goes on and on. Yeah. Also, oh my gosh, I forgot about these guys. How could I forget? On the bench. I met on the bench. Do you know who On the Bench is?
No.
Oh, you have to follow them.
Okay.
There are these two guys from Canada. And they
yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. They were there?
They were there.
Oh my
gosh. They've come in
gosh.
the past, and they were there, and we made content with them, and they are so
they're so funny. They are so funny. Oh my gosh. I haven't seen them in a while. I'll have to follow them.
Yes.
I never really followed them, but yeah, they're.
Yes. I've got some BTS of them doing just some funny. So there's this guy we call it, his name is Will the Water Boy. He's
okay. Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah.
He's everywhere. And he was like getting comfortable with me and on the bench, so he was kind of like attacking us. And one of the guys was like, "We love the kids, but who is this kid?" You know, it was just funny stuff like that in videos, and they were awesome. Especially for me, I like that stuff, like the bar stool on the bench, you know, doing those things. I thought they were hilarious. Great guys. So that was probably one of my favorites too that night when I was like, I never got a picture with them, which makes me seriously so upset because I thought they were going to come back the next night and they didn't.
Oh.
So I never got like an actual picture because I was too busy making content with them. But it was fine.
Yeah.
I have the memory.
Yeah.
I have the video. I just don't have the picture.
Yeah.
So and again, if you're ever in like, it starts in July and goes through August. It's only 8 weeks. But if you're ever in like the Edina area, especially kids love it. You literally can see some of, you know, you're like you said, it's dependent on day to day. But you know, Brock Besser's there.
A lot of Minnesota boys come back.
Absolutely, and a lot of like NHL players that you wouldn't think you would ever get to see. You're in a small high school hockey rink watching these guys do this.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah.
So definitely comes to that. Again, I didn't know it existed until literally this year.
Okay, yeah. And you just reached out and
I just reached out.
Wow.
All you gotta do is reach out.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is email.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, email is like the best thing you could ever do.
Yeah, good to know. Yeah. You gotta just network. That's what I learned in college, honestly. Just network yourself.
I didn't think that it was gonna be anything. Like, when people said to network, I was like, you know, I'm just whatever. Yeah. No, it's the reason I've gotten almost all of my jobs. Like, it's the reason why everything has worked out the way that it did. Networking is key. It's gonna get you far in life. So just like if you feel uneasy to message that person, don't. Message them.
Worst that could happen is they don't answer.
And that's exactly. Yes. The worst that can happen is they don't answer.
Yeah.
But what if they go, I really like your stuff. Do you want to do an internship?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, just last, is there anything else you want to add, or if not, we can wrap it up. But
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I just think, I guess the tidbit I would say is, if you're going to be a woman in sports, you got to be strong. Yeah. You have to block out the hate comments. You have to. Don't sit there and look at your phone, whether it be on TikTok, you know, Facebook. You know, when I worked at KYC, I'd get a lot of hate comments.
Oh, wow. Really?
Oh, on the Facebook posts. This girl doesn't know what she's talking about. You mispronounced a name. Like, you're stupid. Like, how can you do this? Like, just really making fun of me. And for the first couple of months, that wrecked me. And then I stopped listening, and I didn't care, and I just did my work, and I was out. So those are the things I have to say is, like, you have to be strong. You have to, if you're gonna get hate comments. You are going to get hate comments. Yeah. But the way that you react to it says a lot more about you and your personality than it does anything else. So just ignore them. Don't respond. If you're gonna respond, be like, hey, cool. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. This boosted the algorithm. I love it. You know, I guess that's just the biggest thing. But also, like, especially with, like, you know, TikToks. Yeah. So many people are afraid of making TikToks. Don't be. The biggest thing I can say is, like, if you want to get into that or anything that you do, you're gonna have to realize that you're not gonna post one thing and it's gonna blow up viral. You're gonna have to. It's gonna be a very long of. I only have like 50 views or 100 views, and then all of a sudden traction grows. I've, like I said, like 2 months ago I had under 1,000 followers. Now I've got up to almost 3,000. Wow. Because I just kept posting. Yeah. Because I just stopped caring. And that's the beauty of it is do what you want. This life is so small. Don't think that, like, you know, oh, I'm not going to get anywhere. Everyone starts out, like, do you think Erin Andrews was literally the biggest star ever when she was in, like, high school or college? No, she had to work her butt off for it. You all start somewhere as women in sports, and you just have to grind it. Yeah. There's so many opportunities out there now more than ever. So, yeah. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be so worth it.
Yeah. Well, thank you. This has been wonderful. Yeah. We talked longer than I thought we would. So this has been an amazing conversation. So thank you again for joining us today. This has been Marissa Voss. I'm Emma Holmes, and this was the Women in Sports Media podcast. Thanks for tuning in. This has been the Women in Sports Media podcast. I'm Emma Holmes, and thank you for listening in. Tune in each week for incredible conversations with women who are breaking down barriers in the sports media industry.